Welcome to The Most Important Thing. I'm Danielle DeMarco Neufeld.
And I'm Greg Neufeld. Together, we're exploring how ambitious, busy families can build culture at home.
Because after all, family is the most important thing.
Hey, TMIT friends.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 20.
20.
That's right.
XX.
XX. And the 10th in our Wholehearted Parenting Manifesto series.
Yeah.
The penultimate episode, if you will.
For those of you joining us for the first time, we've been taking Brené Brown's Wholehearted Parenting Manifesto, breaking it down line by line, and reparenting ourselves with each line.
That's right. It was like a Trojan horse.
It really was. Yeah, it was a Trojan horse. I thought we were going to be exploring other people's things. We explored lots of my things and your things. But lots of people have reached out saying that they explored their things too.
That's right. Things worth exploring.
It's pretty cool. And we've been doing some experimentation this summer. We've had a couple of interview episodes with some of our friends. We call them TMIT teammates. So hope that you've been joining for those. And if you know a TMIT teammate, or if you are a TMIT teammate, we'd love to have you on.
That's right. It takes a village.
It does. So the Wholehearted Parenting Manifesto is Brené Brown's ode to new children, in a way.
I think the way she has described it, if I may use her words instead of yours.
Sure.
Is that she wrote it and didn't know if she would ever publish it, but that it's her own compass towards parenting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, Brené, this is our ode to you. And we are now one more from today away from finishing.
Yes. So the second to last line in the manifesto, the one that we will be talking about today, is about daring greatly, which she later wrote a book on.
That's right.
Yeah. As you begin your wholehearted journey, the greatest gift that I can give you is to live and love with my whole heart and to dare greatly. Shall we talk about, in her definition, what it means to dare greatly? And then maybe we can talk about how we are each daring greatly right now.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So Brené defines daring greatly as the courage to be vulnerable, to show up and be seen when you have no control over the outcome. It comes from Theodore Roosevelt's famous speech, Man in the Arena. So she uses this to underscore the idea that daring is not about winning and losing. It's about having the courage to step into the arena of life, knowing that you might fail, but choosing to engage with your whole heart anyway.
Is it a weird time to bring up Chamath?
Never. Chamath Palihapitiya?
Yes.
Chairman dictator?
I always think of the Man in the Arena with Chamath when he was doing all of his SPACs and everyone was losing money and he's losing money and like it was just going horribly wrong. And he was like, I'm just in the arena trying stuff. That was his retort.
So niche, Greg. Tell us, everybody. Would love to know the crossover between TMIT listeners and all-in listeners.
Definitely one there.
One. Me.
I mean, I'm sure there's more.
There's probably a few.
There's probably a few. I think we've got a couple that are working in the VC industry that are parenting and running investment firms or maybe running venture-backed startups. I'd say the crossover is actually pretty big. And after this episode, maybe even bigger.
Yeah, Chamath, come listen.
Sure.
Anyway.
Where are we going here?
Okay. So where are we going here? The greatest gift that I can give to you is to live in love with my whole heart and to dare greatly. This line is a breath of fresh air for me, and it might just be the way I'm interpreting it, but let's go with it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because what comes up for me when I hear this is that life is about climbing our own mountains. And this idea that we've talked about before as family as a base camp. And there's a specific quote that comes to mind from Carl Jung, where he says, "Nothing has a stronger influence on their children than the unlived life of a parent."
Mm-hmm.
And I love this because I feel like it gives me license to go and live my life as a potential way of avoiding putting my children in the therapy chair. As opposed to so much of what I feel today, which is this mom guilt, if you will, around if I want to live my own life, it will somehow detract from my children's life. Does that make sense?
Of course it does.
So I feel as though, I guess I take Brené's words in the broadest sense, the courage to be vulnerable and the courage to try new things and the courage to be myself, which is so much more than just a mom. I love being a mom. It has been the most transformational experience of my life, but it is not my whole life. If I'm being really honest, it's not even the foundation of my life. And it feels a little verboten to say that, but it's the truth. And when I think about daring greatly, particularly where we are with our family, out of the blocking and tackling years, as I like to call them, and more of the family as a democracy years, I feel like I'm declaring my independence, if you will. And I've been thinking a lot lately about what that looks like. And it's hard. It is hard in the world of gentle parenting. It is hard in the world of social media with trad wives and moms on Instagram telling me to lean into the chaos of 3 different traveling sports teams on the weekends. And I'm kind of like, I'm trying not to curse right now.
You're allowed.
I'm kind of like, fuck you. That's not what I want to do. I love my children with my whole heart, and I have no intention of following them around for the next 15 years. Let me just tell you emphatically, I will not follow them around for the next 15 years. And this is what I really feel in my heart. And I hope that I'm not alone. And I hope to make space for those that are with me to say that that's okay.
There it is.
I guess it is my hope that by living a full life and daring greatly, I also authorize our children to dare greatly in their lives as well.
Amen.
That said, it does mean that I am going to be outsourcing a lot of the day-to-day of parenting life. I'm not going to be the one taking them to ballet or soccer practice, because while they're exploring their own interests, I am exploring mine. And it also means that, on the one hand, while I do believe that deeply fulfilling my own personal life will bring me more capacity for presence and joy and meaning when I spend time with them, it also means that sometimes Maverick is screaming his head off 10 minutes before I have a very big, important client call. And not only do I lead from my not best self, but I go berserk. I go absolutely nuts because of the stress of it all. But I guess that's human.
Yeah.
You know, it is human. And because sometimes I think, wow, if I didn't have my hand in so many different things, maybe I wouldn't freak out at Maverick for screaming. But it's okay. I want them to know that mommy is a whole person with a lot of really important pursuits that are close to my heart.
The most important thing. People typically have been ending their sentence on podcasts when talking about family with those words. Family is the most important thing. And then not going into why. We set out to explore what there is beneath those words in this podcast. And it's interesting because it takes us through this journey of what it means to be a meaningful participant and climbing your own mountain at the same time. And I think the best entrepreneurs can get too focused on climbing that mountain without letting their family see them along the way. Because having our kids bear witness to us climbing those mountains and understanding what it means, not just closing the door on them, is the difference between a great entrepreneur and a great entrepreneur that's also a great parent and role model.
Is it crazy that I really want to be both?
No. In fact, Jack Altman yesterday, Tiffany Zong sent me this tweet, as you know, from Jack Altman, which I thought was a little bit simplistic, but now that I reflect on it, the people I look up to most are equally amazing at work and with their family/kids. I don't think that's too much to ask for, but I don't think that it means that you take them to all of their soccer games and run a business. And that is the trap I think a lot of people are trying to fall into, or are unintentionally falling into, which is trying to have it all by doing it all. And I think what you're naming is what a lot of people are feeling, which is I can't. I have to put on my oxygen mask first. I have to climb my own mountain and let my kids bear witness. My children are not my legacy. They are fill in the blank.
My witness.
my witness,
My witness. Yeah, I guess it's just, different philosophies. I don't want to be judgmental towards any other philosophy, right? But I can tell you that when I was watching Real Housewives of Miami over the weekend, I guess it was, and Larsa Pippen said, I am investing in my kids, so the fruits of their labor better come back and take care of me someday. I was like, heck no.
Nuh-uh.
Like, that is just not me.
No way.
And I understand that that is a mindset, and I hope that it works out for her. But if anything, I am the complete opposite. I am the one that is wanting to live in the here and now. Like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to live, honestly. Maybe it's a mortality thing. Who knows? But like, I'm not willing to put off my dreams until they've left the nest.
Of course not.
And I guess I'm hoping that there are benefits to climbing my mountain as our children are growing. And what that really has meant is that I do need to outsource a lot of the more time intensive, more rote tasks like carpooling and doing the laundry and cooking dinner.
Yeah.
But I still try to be involved in holding space for their feelings and spending intentional time with them, the first 2 hours every morning and the last 2 hours before bed at night. But it's more of a side-by-side activity these days, especially as they grow. It's you're doing your morning chores while I'm doing my morning chores, and we're talking and we're interacting as humans about our day.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to I'm waking you up and I'm helping you get dressed and I'm cooking you breakfast and I'm washing your clothes.
Those are not in our first arc of episodes. If you think about the most important thing, episodes 1 through 8, none of them are taking them to school or picking them up from school or doing their laundry or putting their clothes away. Yeah. None of those things.
And I want to say that on the one hand, these are first world problems because we can afford to have a nanny to do that. And that is not the case for everyone.
Sure.
On the other hand, I want to acknowledge that that is a financial sacrifice. Like there is a world in which I do not climb my own mountains right now, and we don't hire a nanny that makes umpteen dollars an hour. And we have a different financial picture.
By the way, I would love to be paying umpteen dollars an hour. If there's a way to pay umpteen.
Anyway, you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There is a different world where
of course
I put my mountain climbing aside and do all of the things for the children. And then having a nanny is not the largest expense that we have.
I saw one of your girls' videos on Instagram, this mother of 4 boys that you have been following. And she says, taking care of 4 boys is this many hours. At this rate, it's $180,000 a year, something like that. I'm on the clock from this hour to this hour, and the family knows that. I thought that was pretty cute because it is putting a price on not having extra help. It is putting a price on what that means for the family. And hopefully the family can reap the benefits of those extra dollars saved. But in this family, we're spending the money to climb our own mountain, so we better well climb them. We'd be doing ourselves an injustice if we weren't.
Right. But I want to make clear, though, that for us, this is not a financial gain goal.
No.
Right?
No.
This is a fulfillment. This is a personal fulfillment. Who do you want to be goal?
Yes.
Because nannies don't come cheap.
No,
especially good ones.
This is a push myself to the things that I know I'm capable of without the constraint of the things that I know will create tension and make me feel resentment.
Sure. I just want to say that I have friends who are amazing stay-at-home moms. And a lot of them had moms who were amazing stay-at-home moms.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just like to honor that while saying, and I deeply respect that as well.
Sure.
So I honor and deeply respect that. That is not me. Like I would go insane.
Yeah.
I would be resentful. So it's just not a skill set that I possess. And I'm really grateful that you have seen that in me, accepted that in me, and kind of pushed me out the door at times to say, no, there is no space for you to do that here.
Correct. Yeah. Well, in fairness, when we met, you weren't like, oh, I can't wait to get out of this 9 to 5 so I can have babies. And it's like, that was never going to be you. So
no.
I just am trying to honor the person that I met. And
remember 3 weeks before we started trying to have a baby, I was like, ew, babies are gross.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Hormones are real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They are. So daring greatly means to each of us something different. To you, this clearly means climbing your own mountain right now.
Yeah. Can I just also say that I think it has a bit to do with family of origin as well?
Uh-huh.
So
what doesn't?
I know, right? But like my mom definitely did not live for me, and in a really
In a
good
good
way.
way.
Like in a really good way. She had her own life. And I guess, so I guess, to kind of liken it to what I said about I have friends who really appreciated that their mom was a stay-at-home mom and took care of them in that way. I really appreciate that mine didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one thing that I would like to continue.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of story wrapped up in everyone's own nexts for them once they have kids, right? Like the family of origin component, what they were doing before, what they always aspired to do. I think the most important thing about climbing your own mountain is that you're not afraid to just try things.
Yes. And that is the license that I feel that I have in this family. And I hope you feel as well.
Yeah.
That is probably, it's the linchpin.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing. So thanks for letting me talk about daring greatly. It's
Yeah.
something that
You're not just talking about it, you're doing it.
Thank you. I feel a little nervous talking about this.
Totally.
Honestly. Like I said, it feels verboten. It feels like something I shouldn't be talking about.
I think you're going to find that there's a lot of people here for it and that are doing it.
I think there are a few. I've definitely met a few that come to mind. I just want to make, in the same way that I guess this is the episode where, in the same way that we started this podcast because we want family culture to be spoken about more, this is where I am saying that I want moms who are daring greatly because they really are passionate about it. I want to hear from them more too. Okay. And what about you, sir?
What about me?
Yes.
What about me?
What about you?
I'm chilling.
No, you're many things. Chilling is not one of
them. What about me? Daring greatly for me has been following the arc of this podcast. Not necessarily in the creation or the production, though those are new challenges too. But I would say in the experimentation and most of all, the introspection. So we started really nice and soft and gentle with some things that as a family we can do to get behind.
It's so funny you call that arc soft and gentle because it's not. It's actually crisp, clear lines of routines and rituals, like actionable things.
Right. But
it felt safer.
Way safer for me. I mean, starting family meetings, it was basically business family. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do business family dad. That's a guy that I can call up. He's very available. It's been a lovely way to connect more with our children, with you, and to build habits and routines that I think are compounding. Family meetings especially. Cannot say enough good things about family meetings. I think the problem solving that our kids are showing up with allows us to be witnesses and not necessarily like just solving problems for them all the time, which has been really great. Now, getting into the Wholehearted Parenting Manifesto topics, I didn't realize how much work I still had to do in naming a lot of my unspoken behaviors or habits or patterns or things that I have just been on my internal narrative that I've never said out loud. And to share those with you, that's just called marriage. But to share them with you in a format where I don't know whose ears they land on and that I'm okay with that, that for me has been not just interesting or a little uncomfortable, but it's actually been really exciting. I think the most exciting part of that is knowing that I have this path in front of me to do it more often. And so I think a lot of the early work that I did was just seeing what showed up and getting on the mic and talking about it. I think the work to do is going to be digging a little bit deeper because I owe it to myself. I owe it to you. I owe it to the listeners, but I owe it to myself. I owe it to the dads like me that are climbing in the charts. I think it's like 40% of the audience actually are dads, which
all right, hey, dads.
is pretty sweet. I owe it to the dads to show that vulnerability is a masculine trait, to show that being vulnerable as a dad doesn't mean that I lose my perspective on what still matters.
Doesn't mean you're going to fall apart.
Doesn't mean I'm going to fall apart.
Doesn't mean you're not still going to be our rock.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can I just say, if I may, this idea of daring greatly, really showing up vulnerably with courage and being in the arena, is something that I feel that I have done in my personal and emotional life for a long time now. And I think it is something that you have done in your professional life for a long time now. You have been an entrepreneur for how long?
Oh God.
Since you were how old?
Since I was 13, 12. Yeah.
Yeah. And showing up vulnerably, courageously, starting your own business, starting your own venture capital firm with very little experience, to put it mildly,
To put it mildly.
right? With
Yeah.
2 partners who really wanted to start it with you.
Yeah.
Right? That is daring greatly, truly. And you've been doing it every day for more than a decade now. And so you have really shown up professionally in a courageous and vulnerable way. And now, while I am transitioning to professionally daring greatly, you are transitioning to personally and emotionally daring greatly. So we're
Yeah.
kind of like crossing paths,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah. No, thanks for framing it that way. For context, I started Value Stream in my 20s. Before that, I worked a little bit in software and started a couple of fledgling app companies, worked in sales a little bit. Never really had a large organization that gave me probably some of the lessons that I would have learned a little bit faster had I worked in a large organization, but I found my own way. And I found my own way into an industry that I always wanted to be in, which was tech investing. It's been going, it's had its ups and downs, but it's been going overall pretty darn great. Definitely better than I could have imagined, especially looking back only 13 years ago when I started the firm.
Yeah, but who starts a venture capital firm at 27? Not too many people.
Mostly people that have worked in venture capital before.
For 3 years?
Yeah. If that, right. So, yeah.
Most people that start a venture capital firm are in their 50s and have
in
worked.
their 30s or 40s, sure. But yeah, have worked in venture capital for more than an hour. I didn't start a venture capital firm. I started a firm that I wanted to run that did tech advising and investing in startups. And that was a venture capital organization, which is what we turned into.
You created it out of thin air,
Yes.
audaciously and daringly.
Daringly and audaciously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a good way.
In a good way. And now it's a thing. So why am I here on the mic? Because there's always been a little bit of resistance around doing the personal work. And that includes, like, it's easier for me to work than it is for me to be a dad. I like being a dad. And I like the person that I am when I am a dad. But I also really like the person that I am when I'm building business.
Mm-hmm.
And so outsourcing comes easy to me when it comes to the children. But to circle back on family being the most important thing, I grew up in a household where I feel like I wasn't bearing witness to my parents daring greatly. I was the product. And they dared greatly to build a great family, but they kind of neglected themselves and they lost themselves in the process.
Or maybe they chose to.
Or maybe they chose to. And did I overcorrect? I don't know.
Jury's still out on that one.
Jury's still out. But I think I'm a darn good dad too. And I think that I really like I like having it all. And I believe that I can if I choose the things that I'm good at and focus on those across all areas of life.
Mm.
So working hard now on the personal and the self-exploration isn't just for me. It's for creating a family album, if you will, a collection of family stories, if you will, a reason beyond what's inside of me that drives me to work. It's creating a reason to share all of my learnings and my challenges with the world, but also for my kids. And I'm sharing all of that so that they know what it means to dare greatly to build something. And hopefully they will dare greatly on their own path, and the mistakes they make will be different than the ones that I did. How's that land?
That sounds like we're pretty simpatico on this one.
Yeah.
For different reasons. And I think we've come at it, like I said, I am working more towards daring greatly professionally, and you're working more towards daring greatly personally because you have the professional kind of figured out. But we are aligned.
I always come back to this one story. So when I was a kid, I never had a job. I fixed computers around town as my way of making money. And I did that until I went to college. And it was a great time to be fixing computers. Everyone was getting one. No one knew how to use them. So I would always have this request that I turned away. that I turned down. And the request was, you could probably guess it, can you teach me / my kid / my husband, whatever, how to do what you do? And it's funny because I had a computer tutor when I was 3 years old. Hey, David Frost. But I never wanted to sit down with somebody and enable them to go through the steps. I just didn't have it in me. I didn't have the fuse. I didn't have the patience. And that's come back as a theme that I think if I can work on to give others the tools, not just to be doing it and to be covering my work, but actually to be opening up, sharing the tools, sharing how I think about things. That seems to be the work that I've left on the plate to do at a later date that I'm starting to think about and starting to lean into now. So
I guess we have our experiments then.
I think we do.
Okay. So the most important thing about daring greatly, I believe it is remembering that life is about climbing our own mountains. And that can look like many different things. It doesn't have to be $1 billion company. It could be that I'm the head of the PTA. But that whatever it is, that we view our family as a base camp where we are nurtured, protected, and guided in charting the course for those next mountains. What do you think?
I love it. The one thing I'll add that's particularly important in my case is that we let others see it, both the good parts, the messy parts, the uncomfortable parts, and the I don't want us, and share those.
Great. I love it. Well, thank you for being here with me today. Thank you to everyone listening.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that we had this conversation.
Me too.
Love you, Goosey.
Love you.
Hey guys, if you're still here, you're definitely our kind of person. Thanks for spending this time with us on the most important thing. If this episode resonated with you, we'd love for you to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and share it with someone else building family culture on purpose.